Alright, and hello everybody. This is Temierus here, and this is Amazeing. I'm trying to pronounce. They didn't put in the little punctuations for when you make a pun name in a game, but it's Amazeing Lemons. It's a game guru game where you go around and get lemons. As you can tell, our little cursor's a lemon. Just notice they have... That's interesting. If you look very closely there, right underneath the desktop, underneath pretty much between the K and the T and the O there's a couple little spots of, I'm assuming, something they didn't cut out. It goes away when you go over and it glows though. Alright, we'll hit start. It's enough ogling at that. Man, it was a bit of a struggle to find anything that looked interesting on Steam. Well, there were some things that looked interesting on Steam, just I don't really have the budget to throw down for them. Okay, we're here. I don't know where the music came from, but knowing the luck that I've had, it'll probably be content ID'd, I'm sure. So, yeah, we just navigate a maze, picking up these lemons, and an orange gives us time. Alright then. And it's, of course, a little cartoon world, because why would it not be? Hey, look at that, we can still sprint. I wonder if we're supposed to be able to. I don't know. Alright. Well, I think we'll go to the right then and find these lemons. So how have you all been doing? Have you all been having a good week? I would hope so. Been having a mediocre week. There's a plethora of lemons. Don't even know why we'd want to be getting lemons. Did get out to my regular 40k game night on Wednesday. Had some fun then. I have definitely really been liking the Tyranids Hive Fleet Adaptation of Jormungandr. Not quite sure how I'm supposed to pronounce that one. But it's just been effective because, so when I play Tyranids, oh, clipping hedges, woo! When I'm playing Tyranids, I don't pay points for anything smaller than a Tyranid warrior. My thought process was if I wanted to spam out a bunch of little stuff, I already have a guard army. I can do that there. So, yeah, the Jormungandr bonus, it's really nice because as long as you don't have the fly keyword and you didn't do a charge or an advance move, then your stuff counts as just being in cover. Which is great when you're a big Tyranid monster, because trying to get cover, especially in 8th edition, is not exactly the easiest thing to do. Particularly if the terrain you have at hand can't really support putting big stuff in it. Like, you could stick them inside of a ruin base, but they'd still be visible. They're never going to really get that cover bonus. So, getting to run around with that cover bonus is really nice, and because everybody is just assuming that the different factions that have the bonus of ignoring the cover bonus are useless because they're like, oh, there's never enough cover, because people still can't figure out how you're supposed to build a table. Yeah, apparently everybody likes to go completely minimalistic with the terrain, which doesn't make any sense. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. So, yeah, anyway, getting that +1 to it. So basically all the Tyranid monsters have 2-up saves, which is fantastic because our only model that had the 2-up save, which was the Tyranids, lost it when we went to 8th edition. We went down to a 3-up save. Now, we basically had all the big monsters go to 3-up saves. The Malice Scepter and Toxicrene come to mind, that they were stuck at a 4-up save for some stupid reason. But now they're at a 3-up. The Malice Scepter is a 4-up invuln, which is really nice. Everybody doesn't like the Malice Scepter lately, but... Oh, we lost. So yeah, people apparently don't like the Malice Scepter. I guess because he only has his 3 attacks at a weapon skill of 4 up. Which, you know, is valid, but it's hitting on 4s, getting to reroll 1s because he's using Scything Talons. And then when he does hit, he's hitting with a normally strength 6. 6 is what he starts off with, I think. Like a strength 6 attack with -3 to the save and D6 damage. That's like reserved for las cannons and melt-a-guns. So I really have been liking him. Plus the whole +1 to cast a psychic power is really nice. If there's a psychic power you want to have kick off. But it's even better when he's Jormungandr and just walking around with a 2-up save and a 4-up invuln save. At a toughness of 7, it's not like you can just idly just get rid of it. You actually have to dedicate something to that to kill it. And otherwise he'll go and start messing with objectives, so I don't know why you would want to just ignore it. Doesn't sound like a smart plan. Yeah, I've really been liking him. What was I trying to say? I know I was talking about Jormungandr and their bonus. Yeah, just the cover bonus is nice, and there's so many people that aren't running the things to ignore cover bonus because they say there's not enough cover to ignore. I remember some Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors saying that when the new Tyranid Codex came out. They're like, oh, we finally get to ignore something. Granted, I haven't seen any Imperial Fists or Iron Warrior players this entire edition. So I'll just have to take those guys' word for it. Let's see here. Oh, I do really like their unique stratagem. It's not one you use all the time. Especially because lately I keep playing the Crucible of War missions, which are actually a lot of fun. But a lot of them mess with how things are showing up, and quite often because it's done by power level to decide attacker and defender, I keep being defender. So I end up not really needing to use the stratagem. But anyway, it's a single command point, and when you go to deploy one of your Hive Fleet infantry, you can instead stick them off to the side, and then whenever like Molochs or either of the Triggins or Raveners, why could I not remember their name? Raveners show up, then you can have that guy pop up right next to them. Which is really fun when you bring like a Triggin and he's already dragging a unit in his own tunnel, and then you can have another dude pop out. Like I said, since I don't play anything that's smaller than a warrior, that's really nice because I have a unit of warriors chase after the Triggin, and as soon as he pops up, blam! Because of that stratagem, here's a Tyranid Prime with him, so he's going to give them all of his buff. And now we're just going to go and start chopping away, because of course I'm going to pay the single point to give all of that a +1 to their charge rolls, making an 8-inch charge when I first show up. So that's a lot of fun. Plus the Triggin is just Triggin or Triggin Prime, either one of whichever needs you need to fill is really nice, just because he pops up right behind people's lines. I found orange. Pops up right behind people's lines, or right next to them, or just right up in their face, really. And now you have this, he's unfortunately tough 6, he's not tough 7, but a tough 6 monster that at Hive Fleet Jormungandr will be sitting there on the table with a 2-up save, 12 wounds, and if he makes his combat to you and you haven't taken him down in half his wounds, he's going to check out 7 attacks, re-rolling 1s, strength 6, AP -3, D6 damage up pop. That guy has done a lot of heavy lifting for me in 8th edition. I've basically taken one every single list over 1,000 points. I just think he's that good. Oh, there's one more lemon out there. We got a couple seconds to find it. There I go, actually talking about the game I'm playing. Because that's what these videos are for, right? No, I think I can use the video to be story time about Tyranids in 8th edition. Now, one thing I will say has been really doing pretty nicely so far. I know he hasn't caught a lot of attention when I've been on the table, because I just have so many things that end up in people's faces. There's another orange there. We're going to pick it up, because we're about to leave and never come back this way. But, a foot hive tyrant, just with his default scything talons, and give him a heavy venom cannon, which you then swap out with the relic of the miasma cannon. He's been doing pretty decent, and he's normally going to hang out back with my artillery bugs, like an Exocrine or a Tyrannifex. And sometimes I'm always changing what warlord trait I want to take, but sometimes I'll give him like the Jormungandr warlord trait. So now he's giving both those artillery bugs. They don't get bonuses to cover when they're shooting at people. The people they're shooting at don't get bonuses to cover. I realize I may have just said that weird, which seems alright to me as a warlord trait. But that miasma cannon's just been really nice. And this last game on Wednesday, that Hive Tyrant actually finally tried to run out and do stuff because he was getting frustrated, because I played against my buddy's guard. He was trying out Steel Legion. He was basically all tank. He had a squad of vets and a missile launcher team. Missile launcher squad. He had 3 missile launcher teams making a missile launcher squad. Both of those were running around Chimera. There were 2 armored sentinels. But the Hive Tyrant was just getting frustrated because we played the Patrol Crucible of War. I know in Patrol it says you have to deploy a troops category to the battlefield, and he didn't have one, and I just said, just screw it. Just put the vets down, whatever, I don't care. Ended up still being an enjoyable game. But that Hive Tyrant was getting frustrated, so he just kept getting up and just charging at the guard. They tried to pop shots off at him once when he was getting there, and then that's when, in Patrol, I was the attacker this time. So I had a stratagem of 2 command points when a unit arrived from reserves, because you have to have basically everything in reserves in Patrol. I could have it arrive on any table edge. And I used that, and remember, he's playing a bunch of tanks. I used that to plop down 2 Forge World Stone Crushers right next to his tanks that he just brought on. And then I had my Trigon pop up with the unit of warriors that are basically now the customary thing to follow him. And a bunch of Raveners showed up. They just started being annoying, just denying shooting phases to tanks. So he had all this other stuff he had to shoot at rather than the Hive Tyrant, who just kept running around and just kept, from all the way in the back, 3 wounds off that Russ, 6 wounds off that one. And, of course, still chucking down his psychic powers, because, of course, I'm going to have him get Psychic Scream while he also has Smite, so he can just keep double pumping that. All them mortal wounds. It's nice stuff. Nice stuff. Oh, I did try out the Malanthrope that game. He didn't really get to do much. The guard just stayed too far back, and he was going for a bit more of the cautious advance with the lines he was pulling up, and just he never got close enough to get to try and use his special rule, which is when he has something die within an inch of him. Basically goes all Mind Flare and just swallows up the brain, which then gives him tactical knowledge of the thing that you're fighting. But if something dies within an inch of him in a fight phase, then everything that shares a faction keyword with that, your Tyranid army rerolls all their to hit rolls of 1, regardless of whether it's a shooting attack or an assault. Just if you rolled a 1 and it was a hit roll, reroll it, which is fun, but doesn't do a whole lot for like a Scything Talon Tyranid, because he's already rerolling ones, and he doesn't care if you share a faction. Really want to try him out against an Imperial soup list, because that's probably where he's going to stand out the most, since they're going to be on the thing of, oh, I have 6 different armies, but they're all Imperium, so I could still be matched. You go, okay, Grasping Talon like a Guardsman or an Inquisitorial Acolyte, and now everybody's getting reroll 1s. Maybe that's backfiring on you a little bit. I don't know if it actually will. I'm speaking a hypothetical. But I like to have some confidence. Which you have to when you're, as people in my local playgroup are saying whenever they're looking at my stuff, is, oh, he plays Tyranids wrong. Because, as I said, I just bring the big Tyranids. And currently now, oh, look at that, we beat a stage. Yeah, currently now, the whole way that you're supposed to play Tyranids, and the only right way to play Tyranids, is bring just gigantic blobs of Gene Stealers and then be either Behemoth and Kraken, because Behemoth lets you reroll charges, and Kraken is if you outnumber the thing you're fighting, reroll. It's either all your misses or just your ones, but you get rerolls when you're fighting stuff because you outnumber it. Kraken, of course, is completely unappealing to me because I'm basically never going to outnumber whatever I'm fighting. And then whenever I would outnumber something, well, I'm fighting a single dude and I don't really need that reroll once to hit. I'm still going to kill it. Yeah, I think we'll get lost in this maze. Whatever, that gives me more time to talk Tyranids because I'm actually enjoying talking Tyranids more. Kind of wish that I could have it as a two-way thing. I have been tempted to try and actually have enough stuff painted and then like find some decent terrain, some good tables, do some like battle report videos, because that'd be fun. Because I know at least in my local group we quite often run things that are, like, aren't your typical stuff to show up, and it's honestly been a lot more entertaining because I've gone to like the events where you get an ITC player with his bog standard ITC list, and it is so dull. I mean, if you like playing ITC, more power to you. Far be it from me to tell you you're having fun wrong. But just seeing the same list over and over again, doing the same thing time again, in and out, just gets so boring. It's really boring. Plus, there's a lot of tournament tables I look at. God, they just want me to gouge my eyes out with a rusty spoon, because that's half the aesthetic of playing the game, is how your table looks. And when you're just the completely symmetrical, well, here's a tree in this corner, and the opposite diagonal corner there's the same size tree, and then here's a ruin in the other corner, across from it the same diagonal corner, another ruin again of the same size, and then put a big hill in the middle, and that will be our battlefield across all 30 of these tables that are being played. I'm like, God, why? And then they always give first place. Well, it's either first place or it's an extra award for best general. And I'm like, if you're going to prove yourself as best general, you need to be able to get into a situation where it is going to be really disadvantageous to you, and you're able to still pull it around. Because that's what a good general is able to do. That's why I've really liked when I've gone to like Flames of War tournaments. Oh, that was a fun one. That, like, when I very first started trying Flames of War, there was it was basically an infantry only mid-war tournament, and there was one table. It had an orchard in it, which now that I think about it is oddly fitting because we're grabbing lemons and oranges. But anyway, the table had this orchard in it, but it stretched diagonally across the table. So for one side to get to the other, you had to cross through this orchard. Now, the orchard was rough terrain for you to go through, so it would slow people down, but it offered absolutely no cover at all. And there were so many things that died in that orchard, it just gained the name of the Orchard of Death. Because, like, the first game that happened to it, I think it was a U.S. Ranger player got matched up against a Wehrmacht player. Sorry, put an extra R in there that doesn't belong. And he just put up on top of this hill that looks over that orchard, I think it was like 6 MG42 teams on there. It was something disgusting and horrifying. It just, nobody could get through that orchard. As soon as you got in that orchard, you're just mowed down by the wall of lead. Oh man, it was nasty. So that's a little bit of tangent on table building. I'm very much a fan of having tables that look more real rather than the tables that are symmetry, because that doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. What else are we talking about? I guess I could run down a list, because if people know what I'm talking about here, they're probably curious what exactly I'm running if I'm playing Tyranids wrong. Because I am, and I will continue to do so. Damn it. I want to get little Tyranid keyword things in there. I'll pull in the Gene Stealer cults I have. So, let's see here, what I run on last Wednesday. So I had my my Hive Tyrant with the Miasma Cannon and his stock siding talents. Second HQ, Tyranid Prime. He had his Flesh Hooks, Adrenal Glands, Rending Claws, and Lashwhip Bone Sword. That's kind of a relic of when I was playing 7th edition, because he would quite often have he'd have his Lashwhip Bone Sword, because it was just an effective melee weapon back then. It still kind of is now, but it was a bit more effective back then. And his Rending Claws were always the Maul Claws of Thyrax, because he would always go in, try to fight something small, kill it, just so he can get the Maul Claw bonus off, and then just go and hack things away with his Bone Sword. So I had that Tyranid Prime, and then we had the Malanthrope. He was just the way he is, because the Malanthrope has no upgrades. He doesn't really need them, though. None of us had a chapter approved book, so this is without the chapter approved points increase that he ended up getting, which I'm not too bent out of shape of him getting. He honestly needed it. So that was the HQs. 3 troops, because this was a battalion detachment, so he was able to get 6 command points. 3 squads warriors, all 4 models. 2 of them were 3 Death Spitters and a Barb Strangler, which seems to be the best bio cannon option now. I keep trying the regular Venom Cannon, and it keeps just either just not really performing or only doing okay, which for a gun that's double the cost of your other option, you kind of need to do more than just okay. So we had that. The 3rd squad is what I basically am considering kind of like my Tyranid Prime's bodyguard, and it was 4 warriors, all with Spine Fists and double Bone Swords and Adrenal Glands. And when I use the Jormungandr's special stratagem, it's normally that unit of warriors is riding along beside a Trigon, and then I'm using the stratagem to pop the Tyranid Prime into the middle of them, and then I just walk around like any HQ option in another army with his bodyguard unit, just hacking things to bits. Elites had Unit 3 Hive Guard with Impaler Cannons and Maliceptor. He had Adrenal Glands. Then we had Fast Attack, a unit of 6 Raveners, all with just their default sighting talons, and all taking the 1 point upgrade of Spine Fists, because if you can spare that 1 point per model upgrade, it's pretty decent. I mean, especially after this game, their Spine Fists were able to kill a Russ. I mean, that Russ was on its last wound. It took a lot of fire from everything, but they got lucky and were able to kill it with their Spine Fist. Did kind of frustrate them because they kept running out of assault targets that turn, though. Okay, then heavy support. I had the brood of 2 Stonecrusher Carnifexes. No upgrades on them, just what they are default, double Wrecker Claws. And because the things I already own, I didn't really feel I needed the flail as much. So they had their double Wrecker Claws, and had the Exocrine, and wasn't there another heavy support I had? Didn't have the Tyrannifex that time. Oh, a Trigon. Yeah, that's the guy I was forgetting. The guy that I really enjoy taking every single game. That's the one I forgot that I took. Yeah, I had Trigon, and he had Adrenal Glands. So it was Patrol. Turn 1, I plopped down one of my shooty warrior squads. Hive Guard hid behind a bastion so they couldn't really be seen, because they didn't need to stand in cover, because they're just going to stand still the whole game and just naturally have cover just by existing, because being Jormungandr. I don't know where these last 18 lemons are, and I don't really care that much. And plop down the Hive Tyrant there. There was just some minor shot trading the first turn, and then I actually got to pull my stuff in. So I was able to get everything except for the Exocrine and the unit of warriors. We just assumed the Exocrine, the gun, was not able to hold control over the Tyranid that it's attached to, and he was running off chasing a rabbit, and the 4 warriors were chasing after him, trying to put him back into the synapse link so they could bring it under control. But he just kept outrunning them because he just really wanted that rabbit. That's what we decided on for that game. But the stone crushers just popping up next to those tanks, that caused a lot of issue for the guard. Caused a whole lot of issue on him. And then the Triggen popped up and he just started stabbing away at tanks. The warriors that go with the Prime, they had a little bit of a weird thing, because I wasn't sure when you would have used the Jormungandr stratagem in that particular style of deployment, because you can only deploy 3 units at the start, and then everybody else is just in reserves, so you never actually deploy them. And the stratagem says it's when you deploy an infantry, that's when you use it. So I didn't really know the exact interaction of doing that. And so the Prime had to run and try and catch up with those warriors. He didn't really get there until it was basically the end of the game, though. They didn't get to do a whole lot. And let's see here. What else was the big thing that happened? I guess it was basically the highlight reel of the game. So, I mean, I'm starting to fall asleep playing the lemon game, so I keep losing my train of thought of what I'm talking about. But, anyway, yeah, Tyranids in 8th edition. That new codex, I have been playing the crap out of my Tyranids now because it's finally actually fun to play as Tyranids again. There was a long while when I would just pull out my Tyranids. It was not always enjoyable just because it felt like you were just at such a disadvantage. Especially the way I ran him for a good while there, it was just like, it started turning to what's the point? That was very upsetting times, because ever since I started collecting Tyranids, I've really enjoyed them. They're a fun faction. I have never regretted buying into that one. But yeah, 8th edition has been super, super nice to the bugs. I really need to get my Diamond Karen out more, though. The problem is, every time I pull out the Diamond Karen, he pops onto the table, and then everybody shoots everything at him when he's there. I'm like, why? There's a Tyrannifex shoot. There was time left, and it gave me the game over. That's bullshit. Anyway, yeah, everybody just shoots the shit out of the poor Diamond Karen. It's like, yeah, if he gets the right target I want him to get to, he's scary to it. But, like, if you have a Land Raider in the way, he can kind of maybe do something to Land Raider. He's not going to be super consistent on it. And it's going to take him forever to get his invuln save bonus, because he has to kill a model with his grasping talents, which it's going to take forever if he's fighting a Land Raider. But he's still a fantastic model. I'm very upset I lost one of the little claws that are on his ankle, though. Very upsetting. Since I'm playing Hive Fleet Jormungandr, I might try and make it look like there's ground underneath him to make the tunnel networks try to cover it up that way. But that's Tyranids in 8th edition. I could keep rambling on, and trust me, I could. I could probably do an hour video of it, but my background has been Amazeing Lemons, and that's a boring as all hell game for $5. It's $5 goddamn dollars for that shit I just did and had to ramble over to make anything at least somewhat interesting. Though most people probably didn't watch it because they're like, this game's boring, and they may not have understood what I was rambling on about because they don't play 40k. Well, too bad I play 40k, and if you're here watching the video, I'm going to talk about 40k if it becomes relevant, alright? Alright. Well, slightly related to the topic of that, I got my Black Friday order from Anvil Industry, which is giving me 55 guardsmen to build, and I'm gonna build my damn 55 guardsmen, because I want some infantry for my Talarn tank regiment, damn it. So yeah, I'm just gonna go off and do that. That was Amazeing Lemons. We'll claim this was a gameplay video of Amazeing Lemons, and I didn't totally ramble on about something completely unrelated to it. Bye!